Hi there, so welcome to the third stage in this sprite sheet tutorial where we're going to create the corners. Now in the last video, those of you with the eagle eyes would have noticed that I forgot to do the shadow underneath these pebbles. If you have missed that out, then just quickly go back and do that. So just to catch up, we're just going to quickly erase these parts, just going to unlock this layer, and yep. So we're going to go through and quickly erase these bits, and we're going to just quickly add them back on. Actually, you know what, just to make things a little bit easier, we're just going to rub them all out, except for the last one because we need to select the colour, and I think they're all okay. So what we're going to do is just quickly add these on. Again, this will give us that extra depth, that shadow that's being cast by the actual stone itself. Okay, and that is all it needed. Just going to quickly change these. Control Shift C, and then we're ready to copy in. As you can see, I've just gone ahead and quickly filled in those other parts. So we're now ready to add our corners. So what's going to happen is we need to pay particular attention to the fact that we have cut some in half, and obviously we need to match those up. So in the same fashion as before, remember, this was made from our left hand side, this was made from our right hand side, this was made from our bottom, and this was made from our top. So when we are going to make the corners, what we need to consider is that we need to work with those opposites again. So the bottom corner here will be for the top right, top left, sorry. The bottom, so the bottom right will be the top left. The bottom left will be the top right. The top right will be the bottom left, and the top left will be the bottom right. As you can see, it's quite a mouthful getting all that out. So what we're going to do is again, we need to work by a 16 by 16 pixel size, because that's the size of the corners. And as you can see, we're getting those parts in there, those parts in there, those parts in there, those parts in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete all the excess parts. So what we're going to do is go 32 by 16, and we're just going to delete each part again as we go through. That's the wrong folder that we're on. So sorry, yeah, we do need to copy that folder. So please do copy that. Don't do it on this one here. Just lock that and hide it. So we've got a new copy, unlock, and then we'll just call this for doing the top, we'll do the top left, which means that's our bottom right. Okay, so we always have to work in opposites. So again, we're just going to open this up. We're going to increase our brush size, and by pushing that square bracket, and we're just going to delete those elements away. Okay, and we're just going to go through each one and just delete them all. So again, a bit of a time consuming process, but one part that's necessary. We could separate each four, but it's just that is even more time consuming. Okay, so delete that mud. We've always got another layer visible, so we can hide that. And then what we need to do is get our select tool, and we need to change that back to 16. Okay, so now we've got 16 by 16. We're going to do the bottom right, which means we need top left. So we're going to delete this side, and we're just going to quickly go through again. Now there is a quicker way of getting both parts selected, which I will go through after we've done this one. Okay, now again, what's really important about this stage compared to the others is we really do have to sort of study what we did previously, where things connect and where they don't. So here we go, this is going to be our bottom right corner. So the first thing we need to do is retain this, this and this. I imagine that this bit can go, and we can edit any part of these. So what we need to do first is we're going to hide the excess layers again We just want to keep those original sort of pebbles so we can work out what we're going to do. So we can shorten the brush, square bracket on the left, and we need to clear, as I said before, our sort of last two lines, and we can hide that, and we can split split these up, and we can make probably 3 pebbles out of it. Okay, which is quite nice and broken up. And again, we can just sort of make this a little bit more rounded, make it that little bit more believable, and we can probably add a smaller piece in there, or we could leave it blank. I think we're just going to leave it blank for now. So again, we're now just going to go through the other parts, and you know what, I think just for the argument's sake I'm just going to delete everything except for one piece, just so we've got something to reference for the colour. And we're just going to go through and do that with the others. Remember, leave one square there, just so we've got that to reference for the colour. Okay, and there we go. So what we just want to go and check for is how we did our other parts. So if we zoom in here, oh, let me do that. So as you can see, we've got one here, we've got one big one there. So we have the smaller one, and then we have the remainder of that big one. And down here we've got the 3 or 4 bit, so yeah, we've got that there. That's great, so that means that'll match up. And here we've actually broken that into 2, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So we need to keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we've got 1, 2, 3. So again, go back to our pebble, and we'll just sort of delete those parts, round them up. Okay. Yeah, and that's looking kind of cool. So we're going to just give that a little bit of a test and make sure it matches up before we continue, because it'd be nothing worse than going through all that work to then have to undo it all. So we're just going to quickly line this up, and as you can see, that matches up perfect, that matches up perfect, that matches up, and that matches up. So now it's just a case of adding those final details in. Okay, so Control Z will undo, and again Control Shift Z will undo it again even further. If your computer is not like mine, where your keyboard is messing up, okay, it will not delete that at all. So I'm just going to go and drag this to the recycle bin. So technology has really been messing me up today. So we're just going to go through each layer again, same process as before, probably getting a little bit tedious for you now, and we're just going to copy these on. Remember, these things can be very repetitive, but the end result is what we're aiming for. So the better the finish, obviously the better your work's going to look, the better your work's going to look, the more chance people are going to be interested in speaking to you further down the line in your career, when you're starting out. So again, we're just going to add these shadows in. Remember, Alt is the colour picker, and we can just add these parts on. We get that quite nicely fitting in there, and again onto the highlights. Really quick now. Obviously we've had a lot of practice, you can get much more sort of fluent. Now as you can see here, look what I've done with these two, I tend to avoid pairing up the shadow and the highlight. I tend to either pick a highlight or a shadow. I've already gone with the shadow there, so I'm going to stick with it. Okay, I mean, it's entirely up to you should you wish to change, but that's how I do it. And again, we're just going to add now some texture. Probably won't need it on that small one. You can just put a bit more on, and we're good to go. Okay, so Control Shift C and Control V, and that will bring us in there really nicely. Okay, so again, what I want you to do now is just go through and do exactly the same thing for the top, top right, top left, and bottom left. Okay, and I will see you in the next tutorial where we are going to start looking at some water. Okay, thank you.